101 pertama Syahid MUN Club kali ini. Silakan untuk para speakers.
Okay. Thank you so much for the organizer for entrusting both of us, me and Faisal. We are so honored to be here. And for today's sessions, we are going to discuss on high politic councils. So what is a high politic council? And we are going to discuss more on that, like what are the type of high politic council and how can you identify that council to be like a high politic? Is this council a high politic council or low politic council? So right now I am going to share my screen. Hang on just a second. Okay. All right. Can you guys see this? You guys seeing this?
Yes.
All good, Kak.
All right. All good. Okay, cool. So, Faisal, do you want to explain this part?
Okay. Before we go any further, we are Faisal Rahman and Fahmi Umar, and this is Council 101. We're going to discuss about the high political councils. Before we jump into the slides, sebelum kita masuk nih, jadi council yang ada di dunia internasional itu dibagi jadi dua. Ada yang sifatnya sangat bau-bau politik gitu ya, politik banget, atau yang nggak terlalu. Gue bilang nggak terlalu karena bukannya yang lain itu tidak bersifat politik. Politik itu ada, pasti ada, gitu kan. Bahkan lu ketika hidup dengan tanpa prinsip politik, lu hidup apolitis, itu adalah sikap politik. Lu berpolitik dengan tidak berpolitik, begitu man. Nah, jadi kita bakal bahas pertama ini ada high political councils. Jadi high political council ini adalah salah satu dari dua council yang terspesialisasi, dan kali ini spesialisasinya ini masuk ke bidang-bidang politik, keamanan, dan konflik. Itu namanya high political councils atau high politics council. Council ini kesannya lebih dinamis, flow of debate-nya, terus orang-orangnya lebih ngegas, terus apa ya? Jadi orang-orangnya tuh lebih ke benar-benar straight to the point gitu kan ketika lagi ngomong, dan lebih berdasarkan pada dasar-dasar hukum. Jadi ada legal basisnya. Maksudnya legal basis di sini tuh kayak misalkan lu mau lu mau ngasih speech nih. Nah, speech lu itu harus berbobot, coy. Lu nggak usah ngomong kayak misalkan, oh iya kita mungkin ya di GSL pertama kali lu we would like to thank for all of the representative of the nations that are present in this council gitu kan, ngomong-ngomong. Cuman terus selanjutnya itu kan cuman basa-basi formalitas aja gitu kan. Kalau misalkan lu kebanyakan basa-basi nanti dianggapnya nih anak gak penting, jadinya lu gak bakal didengerin juga. Terus tujuannya itu apa? Tujuannya itu untuk membuat delegasi-delegasi yang hadir di konsol itu menjadi lebih engage. Dia tuh lebih lebih aktif untuk melakukan problem solving. Jadi ya sebenarnya kan MUN itu kan problem solving kan. Kita dikasih isu, dan isunya ini udah terspesialisasi tergantung dari konsolnya lu masuk mana. Dan lu dikasih identitas, lu dikasih, weh Jose anjing masuk bangsat.
Weh anjing.
Iya, jadi lu dikasih.
Bapak ngejelasin tiba-tiba, weh saya anjing.
Country ini lu dikasih negara, dan lu harus bersikap seperti diplomat dari negara-negara tersebut di konsol terkait, gitu kan. Ya, secara gampang kalau lu ngelihat topiknya ini berhubungan dengan senjata, konflik, yang gitu-gitu, itu masuknya high political council. Yang ada senjata-senjatanya, ada tembak-tembakannya tuh. Ya kalau misalkan nggak ada, ya berarti itu low political. Ingat ya, low political, bukan non-political. Lu mau nambahin gak, Mi?
Iya, paling sama juga. So if if the topic is more like into like a legal based discussion, somehow it could be a very
Hmm.
political. What are the topic that can be concluded um as as a legal based discussion? Like for instance, the existence of private military the existence of private military company. Nah, that topic
Hmm.
is very legal based discussion. Then hence you guys are going to like discuss more on the legal more on like reviewing the previous legal instrument and like what are the loopholes and so on. And that also can be concluded as one of the high political councils. It can be somehow that can be appear like in dissect in UNSC in legal UNGA 6 committee, which is legal committee, or any any related high political councils itself. So
Hmm.
next, so
Oke.
here it is, like United Nations General Assembly. UNGA itu apa sih gitu kan, kayak UNGA kalau yang kalian dengar kan pasti kan selalu UNGA aja gitu kan, but apparently like there are like 6 main committee that reside under the jurisdiction of the UNGA itself, yang mana di sini ada 6. Terus yang the first one is the DISEC, Disarmament and International Security Committee. The second committee is Economic and Financial Council. Third committee is SOCHUM, or commonly known as Social, Humanitarian, Cultural Cultural Committee.
Sokum.
Yep. And fourth committee is SPECPOL, Political and Decolonization Committee. Fifth committee is Administrative and Budgetary Committee, and the last one is the sixth committee, which is Legal Committee. So, well, mungkin dari kalian di sini udah bisa nebak yang mana yang hypol. Yang mana yang hypol. First committee itu benar-benar hypol. Second itu benar-benar economic, lebih more like economical committee. Third committee itu low poll. Fourth committee somehow bisa either low poll atau high poll, depends on the topic. Nah, and the fifth committee as for the fifth
Siapa
committee,
tuh Rizal?
Okay, as for the fifth committee, ini jarang banget ada di MUN manapun itu. Basically ini body yang memang, ini badan UN yang memang apa sih namanya, khusus untuk kayak ngasih budget ke komite-komite UNGA lainnya. Kayak misalnya basically kayak misalnya DISEC itu nerima funding dari Fifth Committee. ECOFIN apa namanya, SOCHUM nerima funding bisa juga dari Fifth Committee and so on. Sal, do you wanna add something?
Ya, jadi kalau kalian bingung pesertanya, kalau misalkan UNGA ini atau General Assembly ini siapa gitu kan, negara-negaranya ada syarat-syarat khusus gak sih? Syaratnya itu cuma satu, negara itu harus masuk jadi negara anggota PBB. Semuanya hadir, dan tiap 1 tahun sekali, biasanya di bulan September, perwakilan dari 190-an negara ini kumpul di New York buat rapat setahun sekali untuk overview dan untuk evaluasi lah. Kayak misalkan proyek-proyek yang sedang dilakukan ini kayak gimana, prosesnya kayak gimana, atau misalkan ada tambahan topik baru, kita ada tambahan pembahasan, boleh gitu kan dibahasin. Cuman seperti yang kita tahu, UNGA itu nggak bisa berdiri sendiri gitu loh. Ada instrumen-instrumen atau organisasi internasional lain yang sifatnya ini komplementer terhadap General Assembly. Salah satunya itu Security Council atau Dewan Keamanan PBB yang punya 10 negara anggota tidak tetap dan 5 negara anggota permanen. 5 negara anggota permanennya itu yang kemarin menang perang dunia kedua. Sisanya yang 10 itu disebar, dibagiin. Jadi ada perwakilan dari Eropa Barat, ada biasanya 2 negara Eropa Barat, udah gitu dari Asia 1, terus Afrika 1, Amerika Latin 1. Ya, pokoknya mungkin ada beberapa yang dapat jatah 2 di kawasan-kawasan yang lebih penting. Biasanya negara-negara maju dapat jatah lebih gitu. Maksudnya region-region yang lebih banyak negara majunya karena mereka dianggap lebih substantif. Kira-kira gitu.
Oke.
Ya itu aja sih kalau misalnya buat tambahan di slide ini.
Oke.
Mm-mm.
Next.
Nah, tuh. Ada tambahan tuh.
Nah, so which committee is actually can be considered as a high political council? So as Faisal have previously explained, any kind of, as long as the committee has have a topic that is very sensitive, controversial, intensified conflict content, more into like a legal based discussion, that can be concluded as a high political council. Even like council, newbie council, or a beginner council, such as UNHRC, UNHGR, itu somehow bisa di-conclude sebagai high pol. It depends on the topic. Nah, for example, itu ada topik-topiknya kayak misalnya UNHRC Joint Moon tahun 2018 itu topiknya tentang contending the complex humanitarian emergency of Yemen war. As you guys can notice, it involves war. It involves Yemen. It involves conflict in there. Terus ini UNSC UNSC UIMUN 2019 yang waktu itu gue pernah ikut, itu the existence of private military company, itu legal based discussion banget, dan it also involves conflict. And last but not least, UNGA 6 committee, which is legal committee, ODEMUN 2020, the upcoming one, itu discussionnya atau topiknya adalah reflecting the international humanitarian law values on the proxy war. So ini mungkin bisa jadi additional. So kalian bisa punya gambaran lah, ini topik-topik high pol tuh seperti ini biasanya kayak gitu loh. Kurang lebih. Okay, next. Nah, ini dia. This is one of my favorite. Well, does crisis committee is also considered as a high political council? Of course they are. They are legit. They are a part of the high politics council as well. What makes it different from UNSC, DISEC, and the rest of the high politics council is that this committee has more crisis. Like usually they put crisis for every 13 minutes or more or less in every committee session. It depends. So tujuannya adanya crisis committee ini adalah biar delegate itu bisa melatih kepekaan setiap orang. Apakah orang bisa peka terhadap situasi apa enggak? Kalau misalnya ada situasi yang tegang banget kayak gitu, how are you guys going to handle or resolve that conflict right away gitu loh. And yeah. Ya paling sih itu it's a brief explanation regarding the crisis committee and what happened in crisis committee. I mean, like everything could happen in crisis committee, like even assassination, spying, military intervention or so on, itu bisa terjadi. Kalau misalnya karakter lu dibunuh, ya lu bakalan dapat role yang baru lah ibaratnya gitu. Dan plus poinnya, I mean, good thing is, whenever you guys roll in crisis committee, you guys, there's no need of post-pub submission. Biasanya nggak ada post-pub. Biasanya nggak diwajibin untuk nge-submit post-pub. So you guys have to be like more active during the committee session ya aja gitu loh. Like you guys are going to have like sending directives and so on. Paling gitu. So do you want to add something?
Ya, jadi crisis committee ini rada unik kalau lu bandingin sama council lain yang ada yang lebih banyak ya. Karena di crisis committee ini batas antara halal haramnya itu lebih ngeblur. Bukannya nggak ada ya. Maksudnya prinsip moralitas di sini tuh lebih tidak dipandang dibandingkan dari council lain yang masih ngomongin tentang kedaulatan negara. Jadi kayak misalkan lu nggak boleh asal ikut campur ke urusan negara lain atau nggak bisa ngasih asal solusi. Kalau misalkan di crisis council lu mau ngebunuh presidennya aja boleh, terserah. Kayak misalkan itu namanya sending directives. Kayak misalkan sending directives kill assassinate Donald J. Trump, misal boleh
Bisa
kalau direktifnya nyampe.
kalau diterima
Iya, kalau
sama
diterima.
backroom.
Kalau
Backroom.
misalkan ya ini crisis council.
Well,
Kayaknya kenal tuh. Saya tidak mau sebut nama. Tapi orang seperti itu ada. Makanya gue bilang ya, ketika lu harus melakukan apapun yang lu perlu lakuin, crisis committee itu tempat yang tepat gitu kan. Ketika lu nggak mau dibatasin oleh norma-norma kemanusiaan, ketika lu mau apa ya? Aduh, gua nggak boleh swear words lagi di sini. Ya, jadi kalian bisa melakukan apapun di sini. Cuman ya ada krisis baru tiap 13 menit, ada lagi. Jadi kalian harus adaptasi juga gitu. Itu salah satu minusnya. Bukan minus ya, itu tantangannya.
yep, that is the challenge inside the crisis committee. So hopefully you guys are interested. Maybe one of you guys are interested to participate crisis committee. Just hit me up. Hit me either me or Faisal. We can coach you right away for that. Whenever you roll into that crisis committee. Next, Sal. There you go. It's on your
Okay.
on your part.
So after all this discussion, why did you have to participate in High Politics Council at least once in your moon life? Okay.
Go on.
Jadi ada dua versi jawaban. Yang pertama, why not? Kenapa enggak? Ini bisa jadi tantangan yang baru. Kalau misalkan lu itu tipe-tipe orang yang cinta damai, peace love you, gue lebih enak bahas lingkungan atau bahas tentang ekonomi, perdagangan fiskal, gini-gini, bahas tentang kerjasama atau yang begitu-begitu. Nah, kalau High Political Council itu emang lebih demanding ya. Ya maksudnya lu saran gue sih lu sebelum masuk ke crisis committee yang benar-benar wah itu udah chaotic. Jadi lu harus masuk ke High Politics Council dulu. Setidaknya sekali lah biar nggak terlalu kaget. Well, in fact I have never been in a crisis committee, but I'm sure it's gonna be chaotic as heck.
Definitely.
Ya, mungkin nanti gue mau nyoba sih. Nih gue mau di coach sama coach yang lain juga nih. Gue juga masih kurus coy kalau buat masalah begini. Cuman gue bakal gue bakal tetaplah bagi-bagi ilmu buat yang lebih membutuhkan gitu kan. Coach Fahmi lah, bener. Mantap. Gue setuju.
Back to you, Sal. I learned a lot about customary international humanitarian law from you though. So I'm gonna put my hat to you as well, man.
Iya, jadi di High Political Council ini flow of debate-nya itu dia lebih dinamis, lebih lebih panas lah ya. Orang-orang debat itu lebih sering ada di council ini. Ya mungkin Fahmi bisa cerita waktu di MN Moon tuh Daisek kayak gimana, Daisek Join Moon kayak gimana. Nih kita punya salah satu aktornya nih.
Ya, Daisek.
Ayo dong.
Perkenalkan semua teman-teman gue Jose, jadi gue ini UPN, jadi tenang aja kita kalau cita-cita gue kan masuknya UI ya, cuman memang nggak kegeser dia jadi ketendang ke UPN gitu kan, jadi tapi tenang aja kita sama-sama kok, karena kalau mau UPN kan kalau UIN itu kan lurus ke Lebak Bulus, kalau gue itu belok kanan Pondok Labu tuh kan, jadi kita
We don't need to know.
Lurus UIN Syarif Hidayatullah udah ketahuan ya saudara gue lah ya. Aliansi istilahnya, kita kan bukan anak UI gitu kan, nggak modal jaket kuning gitu. Oke, so Daisek itu
bener nge-spill dong. Oke, saya mantap saya.
Oke, so Daisek itu menurut gua gini, kalian kan nggak tahu ya kalian first sama atau enggak ya, tapi kayak I believe kayak mungkin kalau kalian belum tahu Daisek, kalian tuh pertama kali begitu kalian join itu langsung shock pasti, karena shocknya itu kenapa? Shocknya itu kalau kalian nggak prepare, itu kalian tuh bakal bingung mau kasih solusi apa. Karena Daisek itu masih masuk ranahnya Majelis Umum PBB atau UNGA. Tapi mereka tuh punya urgensi buat menyelesaikan masalah tersebut gitu loh. Jadi kayak kalau kalian terlalu propose solusi terlalu militaristik atau terlalu hypol juga kadang ketabrak mandate-nya karena DISEC itu bukan suatu organ yang bisa memproduksi resolusi yang legally binding yang mengikat secara hukum. Unlike UNSC. Kalau Dewan Keamanan PBB itu kalian mau propose solusi apa aja itu kalian kalau misalkan resolusi itu apa disetujui pass gitu nggak kena veto itu bakal otomatis terlaksana karena udah legally binding. Tapi kalau balik lagi itu sangat-sangat bergantung lagi kepada aktornya gitu yang di refer di situ stakeholdernya. Problemnya adalah satu, gue di Dissect Join untuk propose solusi. Jadi kan ada di proses hukum itu namanya kita itu
Anjing Jose.
ya tolong ya gue tahu gue hari ini jadi tolong.
Iya.
Go on.
Jadi ada kan kalian tahu kan di dunia hukum itu ada namanya suatu undang-undang. Nah undang-undang atau legislasi itu bisa direview atau ditinjau kembali kan. Nah jadi gue itu mengajukan solusi bernama judicial review atau peninjauan kembali. Peninjauan kembali terhadap hukum kita waktu itu bahasa pastun ya, pastun tribal area kan. Jadi ada hukum namanya FATA, ada undang-undang namanya FATA. Nah, undang-undang FATA ini gue propose solusi. Oke, Dissect harus bisa merefer ini kepada pemerintah Pakistan buat meninjau kembali perundang-undangan FATA. Bahwasannya itu tuh perundang-undangan FATA itu nggak inklusif dan itu benar-benar word by word, clause by clause, every article contained in that particular regulation. Ya, FATA bill itu nggak benar-benar nggak menguntungkan pastun sama sekali. Dan dalam hal ini gue propose solusi itu. Kami bisa tebak. Delegate yang representasi Pakistan, namanya itu ada anak Unpad, namanya Adit. Adit ini mahasiswa hukum, konsentrasinya hukum internasional, dan kalian tahu ya udah gue sikat sama international customary law dan berbagai macam prinsip-prinsip lainnya. Ada waktu itu dia namanya Jus in Bello kalau nggak salah. Nah, si Adit ini nebas gue pakai secara hukum, dia debatin gue secara hukum, solusi gue itu nggak bakal bisa dilaksanakan. Tapi gue jatuhin dia dari sisi lain. Resolusi yang dibawa sama resolusi yang di backing sama si Pakistan ini kan conflicting party itu Pakistan kan. Nah, resolusi yang dibawa si Adit ini itu cenderung militaristik, cenderung mengutamakan military intervention ketimbang peace building. Sementara resolusi yang rancangan resolusi yang gue backing, yang negara gue backing kan gue Sweden ya. Gue sama Amerika sama Uni Eropa lain kita satu blok sama NATO. Kita satu blok semua, satu political blok. Fahmi bukan blok gue. Tapi gue berantem juga sama Fahmi sempat waktu di Modern Caucus. Jadi kita memang nggak begitulah. Ya, lalu tau kan Fahmi kan udah pakai topinya itu, pakai topi Rusianya itu kan pakai apa topi. Gaya-gaya dia lah. Bayangin lah. Nah, habis itu kan gue bilang, thank you, Chair and all distinguished delegates. Each clauses contained in the draft resolution sponsored by Pakistan is clearly flowery. Karena benar-benar logikanya aja cuy, itu masalah itu kita mau itu council namanya disarmament and international security. Tapi resolusi yang dibawa itu full ngedukung armament. Gak ada disarmamentnya sama sekali, gitu kan idiotik ya dalam hati gue ya, kayak goblok juga kan dalam hati gue. Kayak, abis terus ya udah gue bilang diplomatik. Cuman gue sama Adit kita nggak musuhan karena ya what happens in MUN stay in MUN lah.
Ya, true.
Nah, jadilah pas voting, udah resolusi gue menang karena resolusi Adit itu sama gue itu beda 12 vote, karena ada anggota blok politiknya si Adit. Jadi kayak yes, pencurian itu ada di MUN. Jadi gue itu nge-backstep bloknya Adit dengan cara kita mencuri kayak waktu itu ada kali 4 signatory atau 5 gitu, 4 signatory atau 5 signatory dari resolusinya Adit, resolusi lawan gue, itu gue turn ke blok gue,
pendakwah emang.
Jose, don't be doing that. You're trying to inspire people. Why you inspire people to be snake? Jesus.
Yeah, oh my God, Jose, what are you doing, man?
Jadi gini guys, backstep itu sunnah Rasul. Kalau nggak dilaksanakan nggak apa-apa, kalau dilaksanakan bagus. Jadi itu sunnah banget ya, sunnah. Jadi sama satu lagi guys, aside from that, pengalaman gua sama Fahmi sama Faisal di Joinmoon, itu satu, kalian tuh bakal yang namanya solusi kalian tuh cenderung mekanismenya itu normatif, tapi kayak basisnya itu adalah hukum internasional mostly.
Yeah.
Antara hukum internasional atau antara yang namanya contohnya political interest kalian tuh bener-bener dimainin. Kayak contoh kalau kalian memang kayak nyusun draft resolusi di high poll itu kan tuh kata per kata itu harus diperhatikan, karena kata per kata itu bisa maknanya beda, dan itu kayak kan juga harus mainin kata per kata, di mana oke, gua mau lawan gua ngerti apa, gua mau lawan gua itu nggak ngeveto misalkan contoh kan di UNSC, gua mau USA nggak mau ngeveto ini, sementara kalian rahasia kan, maininlah permainan katanya, permainan kata, selipin. Manusia itu kan punya kelemahan. Manusia itu punya kelemahan, matanya itu terbatas kan buat ngebaca kelas per kelas itu. Jadi kayak ya kalian mainin kata-katanya, bikin kata-katanya kayak contohnya kayak menggiring opini bahwasannya kita yang menjunjung tinggi perdamaian dunia, tapi selipkan kepentingan politik kalian. Jadi kayak kata-kata depannya kalian mainin, oke, awalnya kayak we need to maintain the racial peace of security bla 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 bla, terus kayak tengah-tengahnya jangan di akhir, kayak tengah-tengahnya masukin kata-kata we need, kayak di tengah-tengah narasinya itu kalian masukin kata per kata yang memang menguntungkan parameter pendirian negara kalian, stansus negara kalian. Karena kalau kalian taruh di awal atau di akhir, kebaca duluan. Taruh di tengah, sisip di tengah. Karena di tengah itu biasa orang itu matanya itu nggak baca. Kalau goblok kadang dibiarin aja. Ya kalau pintar baca per kata tuh. Nah, biasanya gue pernah kayak gitu. Kejadian tidak diveto. Resolusi gue nggak diveto. Karena lawan gue Abdur, anak UI. Abdur ini dia udah senior lah, dia udah Singapore Moon dapat award segala macam, dia senior banget. Sebenarnya gue itu kayak kentang gitu kan, kayak masih belum pernah ke Singapore Moon gitu. Jadi kayak, tapi gue mainin kata-kata per kata, dan kemudian Abdur ini masuk hukum. Tapi gue tahu kelemahan dia ini hukum, tapi konsentrasinya itu environmental law, hukum lingkungan. Jadi gue tahu kelemahan dia di situ, jadi gue taruhlah solusinya memang mungkin dia tuh pakai mikir gitu loh, karena dia hukum lingkungan kan, bukan hukum diplomatik konsulat atau hukum perang lainnya. Jadi kayak kita tuh bahas Kashmir waktu itu, bahas India Pakistan. Tembuslah solusi United Nation Peacekeeping Neutrality Information System. Solusi itu
No wonder people joining.
Okay, go on.
Solusi itu tembus, nggak diveto, dan nggak ada veto sama sekali. Resolusi gue pas, dan itu berkat karena apa? Karena si waktu itu si China-nya bukan China, gue kan sebelah sama US. Jadi waktu itu karena gue waktu itu lagi Kashmir, jadi China itu kan China benci India ya. Jadi kayak kita tuh sebelah sama bara-bara gitu. Waktu itu Rusia sama siapa lagi? Oh ya, Rusia doang. Rusia itu dia kecelek kayak gitu. Karena waktu gue baru nekanin yang UMPNS ini pas udah, gue kan yes with rights ya. Jadi kayak bisa ngomong kan 30 detik. Gue baru ngomongnya pas 30 detik itu, gue licik-licik dikit nih. Tapi ya udah, jadi dia kecolongan gitu. Tapi ya udah. Kayak know your enemy. Yang pertama know your enemy. Lawan kalian itu siapa? Kalian mapping. Oke, dia ini masuk apa nih? Tanya jurusan. That's why penting banget, tanya jurusan penting. Contoh, Mufli. Contoh, Fahmi. Fahmi itu kan sejarah ya, sejarah Islam ya, Fahmi?
Yep.
Ya. Kalau topik yang Timur Tengah, secara historis, sangat-sangat notionnya kental itu, Fahmi tahu nih pasti nih, karena Fahmi kan sejarah Islam pasti ya, Timur Tengah belajar lah. Nah, jadi gue tahu nih, oke, kalau Fahmi itu sejarah kan. Jadi cara gue nge-tag Fahmi adalah, kelemahannya adalah gue bawa dari prinsip politik prinsip politik internasional yang cenderung dalam koridor teorinya neoliberalisme. Gue lupa teorinya. Gue lupa. Oke, jadi ya itulah pokoknya. Jadi kayak lu usahain solusi lu tuh bisa cari pintu lain gitu, pintu di luar lawan itu, kemampuan lawannya gitu. Nah, ada Indah sini. Indah, lu mau explain juga nggak? Indah itu juga dia orang
Jangan.
Indah itu dia ke Harvard National MUN dissect. Indah itu juga ke UNSC. Dia itu udah UNSC berkali-kali. Indah itu dapat award dulu. Jadi kayak Indah dari Unpad, silakan, you have the floor.
Gue kesini cuma untuk memata-matai doang.
Oke.
Well, okay. Tadi Jose and everyone was talking about kayak how dissect will be very apa ya, kayak demanding and everything. It is true. Karena kayak yang MUN pertama gue tuh dissect and I pretty much know nothing about dissect. Jadi salah satu senjata gue ketika di dissect adalah udah kalian harus batu. Jujur kalian harus batu. Karena kalau di high political gitu tuh pasti banyak yang nggak mau ngalah gitu loh, pasti banyak yang pada kayak kekeh sama solusinya gitu. Nah, jadi kalau misalnya pengen kekeh gitu tuh kalian harus bisa kayak nyari celah di mana mereka itu ada loopholes dari solusi mereka. Biasanya tuh mereka tuh pada nyerangnya itu di moderated caucus. Nah itu bagus karena kalau misalnya kalian nyerang opini ada solusi mereka tuh di moderate caucus, itu biasanya chair bakal ngeliat dan actually kayak bakal nilai gitu loh apakah yang opini-opini yang lu serang itu sebenarnya bagus atau tepat atau enggak. Nah kalau misalnya apa opini dan ide kalian yang kalian serang itu kalian lakukan dengan substantial dan juga benar, biasanya chair itu bakal kayak yang secara nggak langsung itu bakal kayak ketarget lo attraction-nya to listen to your speech and everything. Jadi most likely kalian tuh bisa dapat paling nggak ya perkom lah paling nggak minimal kalau gitu. Nah terus kalau misalnya kalian di dissect itu kan komite gede banget ya isinya karena itu kan GA number 1. Nah kalian tuh salah satu yang bisa bikin kalian tuh dapat apa sih kayak menang atau enggaknya itu salah satunya adalah dengan main kayak baku hantam di ukuran jumlah orang di blok lo gitu. So kalau misalnya kalian udah di dissect, make sure kalian tuh sebenarnya udah tahu gitu siapa aja yang bakal di-allies kalian, siapa yang bakal enggak and everything. Terus ajak lobby bareng. Nah kalau yang gue lakukan untuk lobby bareng itu biasanya kayak gue tuh dari semenjak kayak first speech itu udah gue kirim note ke siapapun gitu lah. Udah kirim note ke siapapun. Terus nanti ketika udah kayak unmod kan pasti banyak yang bingung gitu kan ini nih kemana nih gue harus kemana gitu. Kalau gue langsung teriak aja kayak delegates please come here gitu kan. Nah ketika gue teriak kayak delegates please come here gitu pasti mereka ke gue kan. Nah otomatis gue langsung kayak yang gimana ya kayak berusaha untuk accommodating gitu loh. Tapi kayak padahal sebenarnya gue tuh mau coba untuk supaya dapat apa sih kayak attention-nya dengan cara gue bakal ambil pulpen kertas terus gue kayak what is your idea gitu kan terus gue catetin idenya gitu. Nah biasanya kalau misalnya idenya sampah gue cuma kayak terus kayak sampah gitu tapi kayak gue diem gitu lah gitu ya. Tapi kalau misalnya idenya beneran bagus gitu gue bakal kayak apa ya kayak yang this is a good point gitu. Nanti ketika udah selesai unmodnya gue bakal actually ngomongin mengenai poin dia dengan misalnya kayak acknowledging negara itu. Misalnya kayak, yes, delegate of UK actually brought up a point about blah, 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 blah. That's a really good point, especially regarding to answer the karmas number 4, gitu-gitu. Nah, pasti kalau misalnya lu kayak nge-acknowledge negara lain ketika lu melakukan speech, itu pasti mereka bakal senang. Pasti mereka bakal kayak, wah, gue di-appreciate nih sama negara ini. Apalagi kalau misalnya di dissect itu lu dapat negara yang strategis, dapat negara yang quite having high power, misalnya kayak USA and everything. Pasti mereka bakal kayak senang dan probably stick with you. Nah, cuman masalahnya, pasti banyak kan orang-orang yang berusaha kayak ngambil kayak orang-orang di blog lu seperti yang dilakukan oleh Jose di Joinman dissect. Nah, caranya adalah untuk supaya make sure mereka tuh nggak pergi dari blog lu tuh jangan hanya kayak datengin mereka kalau misalnya perlunya aja untuk MUN. Kalian tuh harus kayak ngajakin gitu loh, kayak mereka kayak having lunch together gitu-gitu. Biar ketika orang-orang yang mau approach mereka nggak ada kesempatannya sticking sama kalian terus gitu.
Guys, jadi satu metode. Kalau gue itu biasa gini. Gue tuh di MUN tuh biasa kita tuh ngejok bareng dulu. Sebelum mulai komses gue tuh biasa ketawa-ketawa bareng dulu sama delegate lain. Karena gue pengen delegate lain tuh tahu dulu gitu loh. Gue tuh kayak gimana orangnya. Begitu mereka tahu gue itu funny, kayak misalkan lu itu atraktif, otomatis mereka tuh kayak oke lu teman gue nih di konferensi. Nah udah pas coffee break ajak makan bareng terus mainin diplomatis sekalian. Diplomatik itu nggak cuma di chamber, bahkan gini loh kayak gue sering banget ngambilin kue. Jadi kayak pas lagi coffee break gue ambil mereka kuenya, gue kasih mereka appreciate banget.
Kue Joeman abis anjir lu makanin.
Nah, tapi kayak dengan lu bantuin mereka ngambilin kue-kue pas coffee break itu tuh pengaruh karena mereka itu bakal kayak waduh nih orang empowering banget nih, gue suka nih. Ya udah They vote.
Ew.
Dan ketika pas voting dan blok lain menyerang blok gue habis-habisan dengan judicial review itu, mereka malah ngebelain gue, cuy. Mereka ngebelain gue. Di speech mereka ngebelain gue di journal. Jadi kayak, that's why. Tapi ingat, jangan being bitchy juga. Oke, jangan cuma di situ doang lo temenin, tapi ingat, after di MUN, tetap temenan sama mereka, tetap jaga
Kak,
koneksi.
gimana kalau misalnya muka aku udah bici, Kak? Itu gimana dong, Kak?
Nah, kalau ini metode satu ya. Kalau buat orang-orang punya kayak muka-muka kan udah jutek, kayak misalkan, Kak, muka gue udah bentukannya udah jutek nih dari lahir nih, gimana nih orang kayak banget sama gue kan pasti kan kayak muka gue udah bentukannya kayak jamet gitu dari lahir jutek gitu.
Gila, Robi.
Defaultnya udah jutek ya.
Nah, kalian kalau udah tahu bentukan muka kalian originalnya jutek, ya kalian mainin the power of your voice, even though your face is not supporting at all. Jadi kayak mainin tone nada itu penting loh. Tone nada itu penting. That's why in diplomatic manner, kalau kalian jadi diplomat, itu ada table manner course, ada kayak latihan dansa, ada kayak latihan speaking.
Don't bring dansa to this. Ew.
Public speaking itu ada kayak tone-nya gimana, cara dia ngomong, ketegasannya, pernafasannya gimana. You play it all. MN tuh kalau mau detail itu sedetail itu. Bahkan gue sering banget kayak kita tuh makan siang, kayak kita makan siang bareng aja, rangkul semuanya. Karena gini, gue bakal ngangkut blok lain pas makan siang, kita duduk bareng, ada sebat diplomasi, Fahmi nyebat, Fahmi ngerokok, ngerokok, jadi pada nyebat, kita ketawa bareng. Yang nyebat, gue megang risol, karena gue nggak ngerokok. Gue megang risol.
That sounds so
Nih
wrong.
guys, ini nih. Jadi kalau misalnya kalian tahu, nih ada MUN gede banget di Unpad, namanya Kak Jeffrey Arwan. He's the best. Kayak setiap MUN datengin pasti dia at least Basdel.
Yeah.
Sering itu Basdel, Bas Pospap. At least sih Basdel guys, kayak memang sepintar dan sejuara itu. Nah, he told me like, Indah, kalau misalnya di MUN itu doesn't need to be pintar juga, itu harus cerdik. Nah, cerdiknya gimana? Kayak benar tadi katanya Jose, diplomasi itu bukan hanya kayak ketika lu lagi ngomong dan kayak speech di dalam kayak modern caucus, tapi itu juga ada ketika kalian tuh di luar ruangan. Nah, kalau di MUN, kalau orang-orang yang lama di MUN, gue gak tahu apakah gue harus selesainya atau enggak. Ini tuh kayak yang I don't know, like okay, tapi gue bakal kasih tau aja. Jadi sorry kalau misalnya ada yang tiba-tiba kayak ngerasa kayak apa sih nih MUN kok gini. Nah, I'm just telling you the truth. I'm just telling you the brutal truth. Nah, jadi kalau misalnya di MUN itu banyak banget contoh diplomasinya. Jadi yang katanya Jose benar, sebat diplomasi. Biasanya itu bakal cowok-cowok gitu loh, tapi ada cewek juga. Jadi kayak mereka tuh ngambil kayak rokok, nanti terus pas di lunch break mereka tuh kayak yang ketawa-ketawa doang. Tapi pasti nanti ada orang nih yang sebenarnya ambis tapi kayak proper nggak ambis. Dia bakal ngomong gini, so guys, what do you think about the resolution? Okay, what do you think about this? Tapi kan ada yang ngomong-ngomong gitu. Terus dia bilang, yeah, totally agree, but it's still lacking here kan, gitu-gitu. Dan dia pasti kayak, oh iya bener kayak lacking apa-apa. Makanya nanti kayak banyak gitu ketika udah selesai break atau selesai almond, it's either temen lu hilang atau temen lu jadi against sama lu. Gara-gara itu kayak diplomasi kayak gitu. Nah, terus kedua ada yang namanya close diplomacy. Close diplomacy is one of the thing that I always do. Jadi itu caranya adalah impress someone first, kayak in the first meet gitu lah. Impress with your dress, impress with your how do you look in that MUN. Biasanya kalau misalnya orang-orang yang bajunya bagus, cara dia berpakaian juga profesional, itu people more likely kayak yang udah first kayak wah gitu. Pasti kayak oh okay, she takes this seriously and sure let's go gitu. Yang ketiga, ini tuh ada beberapa MUN yang ngelakuin ini. Jadi sebenarnya ini kayak yang agak ekstra sih, tapi kayak why not kalau misalnya memang lu mau. Ini namanya food or drink diplomacy. Biasanya itu ada orang nih yang benar-benar niat banget. Mereka tuh bakal datang ke council bawa roti donat Jeko, selusin, atau kayak minuman apa sebanyak apa gitu. Terus mereka tuh bakal kayak yang, guys, let's join here. Pasti kan ada makanan tuh. Karena pasti mereka kayak, wah ada makanan, gue harus join situ. Otomatis kan. Nah, itu logika dia mau nge-track orang sebanyak mungkin. Terus nanti ketika udah join ke dia bakal gini, oh guys, let's take the donut. Kan. Soalnya sekali ada donut, pasti kan nggak mungkin langsung pergi kan. Pasti kan langsung dengerin ide dia kan. Nah, itu logikanya. Jadi dia tuh kayak sebenarnya ngebeli kalian pakai donat. Itu logikanya. Cuman kayak kalian nggak tahu aja gitu. Terus yang keempat itu ada diplomasi yang ini jangan kasih salah di sini ya udah. Itu nggak boleh ya guys. Tapi kayak ada diplomasi lain.
Jangan. Itu diplomasi jangan diexplain.
Iya.
Kita ubah jadi sebagai gosip ya. Jadi itu ada diplomasi. Ini tuh jangan contoh ya guys, karena ini toxic banget. Namanya sex diplomasi. Jadi tuh di MUN itu benar ada, cuma benar ada. Jadi tuh ada orang yang benar-benar kayak yang seambis itu. Jadi mereka rela untuk kayak sleep with the chairs. Itu tuh ada, sumpah. Itu tuh ada yang ngelakuin itu cuma untuk dapat awards. Nah, ada juga yang cuma ngelakuin itu ke sama delegates karena mungkin blok dia gede, blok dia juga gede. Jadi mereka mau merge gitu di hari ketiga, hari kedua. So they do that kind of stuff. But for me, don't do that kind of thing. It's only showing that you insecure about your own capability.
Yeah,
Sampai lo harus melakukan hal kayak gitu. Kalau misalnya you already like coming with the substantial matter, you already like confident in yourself, the way you speak, terus you are charming in the way you talking to others, in the way you treating to others, itu lo nggak harus ngelakuin kayak hal-hal yang sampai ekstrim itu untuk menang. And in the end, yeah, it's okay if you don't win because this is only MUN. It's not like if you don't win any MUN, the world will like end and the sky will fall to your face. It wouldn't be like that. Jadi kayak just do the simple diplomacy kayak tadi mungkin kayak gue kayak hari pertama itu udah kayak cakep dikit gitu kan biar orang ngelirik, biar orang kayak mau ikut nyunduk kita gitu. Atau ya kayak yang kata Josie tadi bilang kayak bantu-bantu orang ngambil teh, ambil kue and everything. For me gue malas. Tapi kalau misalnya kalian serajin itu memang sebaik itu ya udah lakuin itu aja. Jadi gitu guys. Banyak banget contoh-contohnya.
That's why kalian kalau pakai baju guys yang rapi, kalau misal pakai dasinya kancing sampai atas, jangan kayak anak petakilan lah pakai baju jasnya, karena gini loh, karena your look determine your value. Kalau if you look expensive, kalau misalkan lu pakai jas 5 juta pun tapi lu pakainya nggak bener, if you look expensive, orang pasti bakal daddy, come on. That's what orang bakal
you disgusting.
Orang bakal notice lu. So, gua hari kedua join Moon tuh gue pakai jas dark gray gitu di luar, terus pakai kemeja biru sama dasi kuning. Karena gue Sweden kan, dan Sweden itu benderanya tuh kuning sama biru. Jadi gue tuh kayak simbol Sweden, gue tuh kelihatan gitu.
Oh, that's smart.
Di gossip box muncul delegate of Sweden today suit up like very Sweden. Karena kayak bener-bener Sweden. Well, Fami bisa lihat fotonya karena ada di Instagram gue juga kan. Jadi kayak gue tuh pakai baju yang bener-bener literally sama kayak bendera gue. Tapi jangan bukan berarti kayak misalkan lu bendera Amerika lu pakai dasi yang ada Uncle Sam-nya, jangan aja, itu alay yang namanya. Nah, sama satu lagi.
Ini sebenarnya kayak gini tuh sebenarnya terjadi banyak banget loh di international MUN. Jadi ini first thing that I noticed di international MUN, mereka tuh ambis, tapi ambisnya ambis yang kreatif gitu loh. Nah kayak di Lyman nih, satu blok gua ada cewek Lyman, dia datang dari kayak community MUN yang gede banget di Berlin, dan dia tuh kayak memang komunitas sering menang gitu. Kalau misalnya di Indonesia namanya UI Mentok lah, kalau ini Jerman kan. Nah, dia itu kayak satu konselnya tuh, saya gini kan, misalnya mereka satu blok itu, satu komunitas mereka tuh kayak ngeregister di Lyman, terus hasilnya langsung dapat counter allocation-nya sama semua gitu loh. Misalnya 8 orang yang datang, 8 orang dapat negara apa yang sama, cuma beda council gitu. Nah, di tempat gue yang community Jerman ini, mereka itu dapat negara Jepang. Terus kayak pas hari H sampai hari terakhir, they literally wear red clothes gitu. Terus lipstiknya merah gitu, kayak bener Jepang banget. Terus si cewek ini tuh dia pakai apa ya? Pakai kayak anting-anting yang gambar apa sih kayak origami gitu. Terus dia juga, sumpah dia niat banget dia bawa origami ke council. Terus dia switchnya pakai origami kayak delegates. Iya kayak gitu, but she win. Terus gue tanyain kayak ke Carya kan, kayak what does she win? Kayak she's not even that good in the substance. Terus gini nih the thing about international MUN juga. International MUN kalau dibanding sama Indonesia jauh woy. International MUN itu nggak sebagus yang kita kira gitu loh. Cuman mereka tuh memang ada apa ya, kayak capability to fight back gitu. Nah jadi kayak dari awal sampai akhir tuh mereka benar-benar yang constant itunya performance-nya. Tapi kalau dari segi substance B aja. Nah, kayak si cewek Jepang ini, dia tuh kerjanya nyomot speech orang lain, dicomot speech orang lain, dia buat jadi speech dia. Jadi kayak benar-benar biasa banget. Tapi the way she do the speech and the way dia engage sama orang lain tuh, itu yang dilihat sama Chen, makanya dia menang. Nah, jadi kalau misalnya kalian mau cara kreatif itu juga boleh. Kalian kayak, kalau misalnya dapat misalnya negara Amerika, for example, pakailah kayak pin kecil-kecil gitu loh, pin kecil yang ada mungkin bendera Amerikanya, why not?
Yeah.
Terus kalau misalnya kayak udah negaranya misalnya UK gitu kan, lu bisa aja pakai bajunya kayak tadi kata Jose ada warna-warna UK-nya, atau aksen lu dibuat British gitu. Tapi kayak gue nggak agree dengan orang-orang yang buat British accent yang seperti kayak beberapa orang di dalam konsep ini. So don't do that guys. Terus kalian juga bisa kayak cuma simply kayak pakai bajunya yang biasa aja, yang nggak usah kayak berpadu warna and everything, tapi just make it look decent, make it look like someone that actually very serious about this. Kayak bayangin di council gue yang di London sama di Harvard ada yang pakai sandal jepit, kayak don't do that, okay?
No way.
That's number
Ada
one.
yang pakai sandal jepit, sumpah. Ada yang pakai sandal jepit, ada yang pakai baju kayak mau fashion show, pakai yang bulu-bulu gitu. Ada yang pakai a V cut, kayak deep V cut neck yang sampai kayak udah hampir kelihatan gitu semuanya. But like, so don't do like that. Do this.
All right.
Okay?
All right. So, thank you so much for Inda and Jose for sharing their insights and also sharing their experience in the high politics and also international MU and abroad. Well, basically that happens a lot. Yes, it's true. I gotta agree with Inda as well. That happens a lot in international MUN. Whether you are going to Malaysia, you're going to Singapore, you go to European countries or Americans or US or so on. Sometimes it does happen, but okay, back to our main topic again. Basically, what are the ultimate tips for you to be whenever you roll in the high politic council? Not just only you are you are well prepared on the substance, but also you need to balance it with diplomacy. How are you going to do it? It depends on you, but I'd rather suggest you play it nice, keep your nose clean, and these are the tips. Whenever you join or participate in the high politic council, first you need to suit up and be recognizable, as previously has been explained. Know your stance, your role, your foreign policy. You need to stick with them and remain diplomatic. Although you are in the high politic council, doesn't mean that you will have to rage, like you will have to be like rude towards your foe. You need to be very diplomatic as well. Maintain diplomacy within the floor, and always present decent quality of substance within your speech. Legal basis is very critical. So whenever you participate in any kind of high politic council, make sure you also bring a legal basis content within your speech. So so you can get recognized by the chairs as well, and the chair will notice that your speech have a legal basis on it. So, and of course, refrain yourself from being from bringing flowery speech. Oh my God, I prefer call these type of delegates as a priest. I mean, not priest, but like preaching type of delegates. Yeah, basically kayak mereka tuh kayak pakai nge-quotes segala gitu loh, like what somehow di high poll itu tuh chairs-nya tuh rata-rata lebih pengen lebih straight to the point aja gitu loh, kayak nggak usah ibarat ya, kalau kasarnya jangan banyak bacot, gue pengen langsung to the point aja lah, ibaratnya gitu. So you need to be very your speech needs to be very accommodate with those legal basis, substance, and so on. And of course, jangan lupa bring speech yang empowering juga gitu loh. Doesn't mean that you have to be very straight to the point banget gitu loh, tapi juga perlu empowering speech juga. And get to the point. Know how your councils work. Basically, ya kalau misalnya lo di UNSC, ya lo harus tahu UNSC itu kerjanya gimana gitu loh. Gimana sih council ini, mandat council ini gimana, powernya apa. Terus kalau misalnya lo di DISEC, lo di SPECPOL, lo di legal committee atau di komite-komite high politics lainnya, di krisis sekalipun, lo juga harus tahu gimana komite itu berjalan gitu loh. Jangan kayak misalnya ibaratnya nih, misalnya lo di DISEC atau lo misal di UNSC, tapi lo propose misalnya lo di DISEC, terus lo nge-propose buat ngekasih humanitarian aid gitu loh misalnya. Like it's not that DISEC, it's not that solution it's not dissect banget gitu loh. So you need to present a solution yang memang itu in accordance sama mandate-nya komite itu gitu loh. So this is only not applicable in high politics, but also in low politic council as well gitu loh. And of course, the last but definitely not least, don't forget to have fun. Then, any questions?
Before we go to the question, I'd like to add several things.
Sure.
You guys hear me?
Yep.
Yeah. Jadi thank you buat Jose sama Indah cabut ya tadi. Buat ngasih tips-tipsnya. Tadi sebenarnya sih waktu dia sharing-sharing tentang pengalaman-pengalaman mereka itu udah sekalian ngejabarin tentang tips-tips yang harus kalian pakai, kiat-kiat yang harus kalian pakai ketika kalian masuk di high political council gitu kan. Kayak you need to dress to impress, you need to bring some substantial speeches or something. Ya, yada banyak segala gitu. And since I bring another guest right here, it's Chris. He's from Malaysia. Chris, do you want to add something?
Wait, what?
Yeah, I mean, like I've been seeing you right there at the attendance list. Like, I guess you want to add something. Like, if you don't, like, maybe you can promote what your upcoming project.
Yeah, man, it's okay.
Like, seriously?
Yeah, for sure, man.
For sure.
Oh, okay. So, hi, I'm Chris from Kuala Lumpur, Malaysia. So basically, I'm the Secretary General for Taylor's Lakeside Model United Nations Conference. So yeah, don't forget to join.
Yeah.
Thanks for
But yeah, I do agree with the dress to impress part, because people who have some sort of bias towards, like, the first impression is always people say first impression is not always important, but I disagree, because, like, I don't know about you guys, but I think you guys can agree that maybe when you see a new person, you, like, after a few seconds, you immediately judge them, maybe in a positive way, by maybe how they dress and maybe how they speak. Mm-hmm. So yeah, I mean, I don't think it's a good thing, but since this is part of human psychology, I think we must play this part too. So yeah, and yeah, of course, have fun. Always have fun.
Yep. Right.
So yeah, thanks.
You're welcome, Chris. Thank you for sharing your. Thank you for promoting your event as well in here, and thank you for giving your insights. We highly appreciate it so much. So right now, it's a Q&A sessions. So if there's any of you who are willing to ask questions, so you are free to ask. So the floor is now open for any question and answer session. So.
Oke, sebelumnya makasih. Makasih buat Kak Faisal, Kak Fahmi, dan tadi ada sempat Kak Jose, Kak Indah, dan Kak Kris tadi. Benar kata Kak Fahmi, ini kita masih punya waktu sekitar 5 menit atau lebih dikit bagi teman-teman yang ada yang ingin ditanyain atau masih dibingungin tentang high poll.
Yep.
Boleh langsung di unmute.
Silakan. Indah ada di sini kok. Indah sama gua nih. Indah baru join.
Yeah. Kalau kalian mau nanya sama selain pemateri, misalkan sama
Jose, sama Indah,
sama Chris juga nggak apa-apa.
Chris juga nggak apa-apa. Yeah, the floor is now open for any question.
But just in case if you want to ask Chris, make it sure you're gonna use English. I'm afraid he doesn't understand Indonesian.
Well, I mean,
yeah, maybe he speaks a bit of Melayu, but
no, I mean,
yeah, we
for
share.
the conversation just now, for slow parts, I do understand, but when sometimes it feels like rap.
Yeah,
of course.
That's very understandable. It's okay.
Oh yeah,
maybe
guys, don't forget to. Oh yeah, from you. Oh my God. You.
So
okay, Chris,
basically, some countries, they are not known for their diplomacy. So in that case, how would you balance foreign policy with diplomacy?
Okay. Who wants to
To whom
answer
is
it?
that?
You go on, Jose. It's on yours, I guess.
Okay, so I will answer it, and after that, Indah could give the answer too, and after that, Fahmi.
Yeah.
Sure.
Okay, so for me, it's quite simple apparently, because for me, I believe how to balance it. Well, I'd rather say that diplomacy and foreign policy is more to complementary. Like diplomacy complement foreign policy, because without diplomacy, foreign policy will not work properly, and foreign policy without diplomacy, well, foreign policy without diplomacy, it will be weird because you cannot deliver your foreign policy without diplomacy. So yeah, diplomacy needs foreign policy because the content of the diplomacy should be in the form of foreign policy, and foreign policy should be delivered with diplomacy. That's my answer.
All right, Indah, do you want to add something?
Yeah, so for me, there are some countries that are not really famous for their diplomacy, but I believe like many of them actually talk in the way that still has manner in the UNGA and or in the UN itself. So for me, what you can do is actually when you are in the UN, in the MUN, you can actually have this like a very like strict and quite I don't know, just strict and somehow kind of like giving the vibe like I'm not playing here, but at the same time you can say it like in the way that very like diplomatic. For example, let's say like look at China, right? China is like I don't know, and the reputation itself in like the UN is not that good, with like many countries like thinking that China has a lot of like motive in helping the Africa, also like some Asian countries and all that. But whenever they got attacked for that, many of them actually got people to back him up too, because that's the thing. He knows how to play with the strictness, but yet calm way. So yeah, just kind of like put the emphasizement on your speech, something like yes, delegates, we're doing this, but the reasoning for us doing this is because of this. And please remember that, for example, if I'm China, please remember that this is MUN and this is me being a country. So a country has their sovereignty power, and I believe here I'm actually assuring my country's sovereignty to not be harmed. Meanwhile, I'm also in the same way to actually trying to help your country. So here, if you're only trying to bash China for over and over for the accusations that are not even given by the countries that are related to my help, it is only showing that you guys are trying to only like blacklist China without any further proof, and also like the diplomacy itself. So it will showing that it will kind of like showing that you are not the bad guy, but they are the bad guy. So it's all about the wording and the way that you play smart regarding those people that trying to like take their anger towards you or something like that. I don't know how to explain it, but yeah, that's the thing.
Like I think I see it like diplomacy is an art, I guess.
Yeah.
Okay, cool.
All
Okay.
right.
Nabila actually say something.
Yeah, Nabila is asking a question. So I'm curious about Kak Jose and Kak Indah first MUN. Can I hear the story? Okay.
Jose first.
Hold on. Due to
Okay.
the time this question, I would like to ask to Fabita first. So Fabita, are we going to entertain like one story for each, or
It's going to be short
can
if
we
I'm
just-
if you want to tell me. It's going to be short.
Oh, okay. All right, Jose, I think the floor is now yours. So you can actually tell your first MUN experience
Sure.
to
It will
our
not
participant in here. So yeah, the floor is now yours, man.
Okay, because of the time constraint, I will just get to the point. Okay, so my first MUN is Indonesia MUN 2018. I represent China in the United Nations General Assembly 6th Committee, legal committee. And then that time, I compete with the other 23 students from various universities all around Indonesia, and it's actually quite tremendous for me because in that first MUN, I adopt. Oh no, that MUN adopt a different rules of procedure that time. We adopt UN for MUN. Jadi there's something called UN for MUN kan. UN for MUN itu kita itu prosedurnya itu fokus lebih ke diplomasi sama kayak negonya kenceng ketimbang konten substance di speech model fokus gitu. Nah, then gue ada pertama itu potato. I was a potato on the first day because I have no idea what the hell is MUN. I have no idea like even my first position paper is like shitty as fuck. I can say because I copy paste like 70% of my portfolio from the internet. So yeah. God bless me. On my first MUN, day one, I was not ambitious. I was just like, okay, jadi kayak hari pertama itu gue tuh kayak cuman lagi pas kita mulai drafting duluan kan kita yang firm, jadi kita kayak pas drafting sama habis okay, like I give my opening statement, dan my opening statement itu gue tuh kayak keluarnya kan gue kan dulu kan anak debat ya, so I used to be a debater. Jadi gue keluarin lah kayak anak debat gue kan dulu kan kayak NSDC gitu kan, so I really throw my debating skills dan kayak deliveringnya di speech opening statement. Dan opening statement itu penting karena itu buat bakal yang ngasih perspektif ke orang tentang kita itu bagaimana. And yes, after I deliver my opening statement, I receive 5 diplomatic notes yang memang bener-bener interest karena gue langsung bawa 5 poin prioritas utama gue di opening statement dari China tentang topiknya rule of law mengenai arms detector. Itu legal banget. And then day one gak terlalu ambis, opening speech, opening statement, terus kayak kita ada formal-informal, kita drafting, and then kayak beberapa speech, well ya, so-so aja. Tapi kayak gue sadar, gue kan balik ke hotel, kayak gue balik ke hotel, ke Gofulakom, kayak gue ke hotel lagi kamar. I remember, like, I came to this MUN. Gue bayar 2,2 juta buat MN itu karena Vodacom juga. Jadi gue nggak mau 2,2 gue itu sia-sia. I already paid a tremendous amount of money and I want it to be memorable for me. I don't want to waste my money for just like okay 2 million flying out of the window and I'm not learning anything. So I have to be ambitious karena gue udah keluar duit. Yes, I did. On the second day I was ambitious. Dan pas appoint block leader, everyone was just like appointing me. Padahal ada anak UI di situ, ada anak sekolah internasional lain, ada anak SMA internasional yang benar-benar anak debater juga yang benar-benar ambis, tapi kayak they did not trust her, they trust me instead. Mereka percaya sama gue. Semua blog gue itu kita ada isi 14 negara itu setuju gue pemimpinnya. So I was the leader. Ya, short story, ya pendeknya adalah long story short, when the awarding, gue kayak cuma nunduk kayak, paling gue masih first time ini, nggak apa-apa lah itu award. And kayak diplomacy award, best diplomacy award goes to People's Republic of China. And I am shocked that time. Gue nggak tahu gue bakal dapat award. I'm not expecting any award. And I received the best diplomacy award from Indonesia MUN. And Indonesia MUN juga kita tahu semuanya itu Moon yang dari UI, and itu tremendous, one of the pioneer in Indonesia juga. Jadi kayak gue, that was my first MUN. So it's like it's a blessing. Tapi tetap ada downnya juga. Gua Moon kedua, Moon ketiga, Moon keempat gue nggak menang. Tapi Moon kelima gue baru menang lagi. Jadi kayak udah, that's the story. Gua Moon pertama menang, kedua, tiga, empat gak menang, tapi Moon kelima baru kayak I return to my glory again, kayak bisa menang lagi. Karena kayak you need to improve. And I thank my chair from UI for that. Aiwani Ditam. I thank my Kak Rani. I want to thank Kak Rani for that dari UI karena di assessment dia lah I can become what am I today. Starting from her assessment that time. That's all.
All right, so it goes to Inda right now. Go on, Inda. It's on yours.
So it is different, right? Like Jose is like doing the UN for MUN and he's really good about it. I mean, like, that's the thing. Everyone has different taste on the MUN. Some people actually like UN for MUN. Some people just like the usual MUN. So if for those of you that don't know, UN for MUN is so diplomatic. and I was doing my first UN for MUN in Jakarta MUN, and I cannot with this. Like I literally run away from the committee session and I sleep in one of the bench in like the Jakarta MUN because I cannot with it. It's very slow progressing. It's basically you guys have to talk very kindly towards each other. I remember like I said something about like emphasizing on blah blah blah, and then like my chair in that time was like, delegates, please don't use emphasizing. Please use a very like other words that more likely to be diplomatic. And I was like, so I'm like assuring, and then she's like, yeah, that will be due. And I'm like, no, I'm not going to say assuring. And I like to be like talking in freedom without having to be scared of the words that I think is not diplomatic. So that's why UN for MUN is not my thing. But however, in my first MUN, this is the thing. I was in DISEC, and it was a GGA. It's actually Grand General Assembly MUN that was held by Women Club. And I was pretty much know nothing about MUN. I literally write my position paper 30 minutes before it is due, and I submitted at 23:57. I'm still remember, and I have literally no hope or no expectation that I will win anything. My goals in that time was like I'm trying to like having fun with my friends in UI and like having friends with me to like just joking around and actually have a time out of from college. So that's basically it. And I came to my committee session on the first day. There was like 40 people, and I was thinking like, oh my god, what am I doing to myself? Why am I agreeing to do this? And yeah, but in the end, when they're appointing for the GSL, I don't know why I actually just like raising my poll card. But this is the thing, I waited until like already like 7 people in the GSL, so I was like the 8th or the 9th. So it was like before the committee said before the GSL is finished, and it was really fun because somehow I know like people loopholes on their speech, so I use it against them. I chose to be like big mad to everyone, just attacking their speech, attacking their substance and everything. But yeah, that's it. Some people actually wanted to be my ally, some people don't. So yeah, and then in the end, with my kesotawan and my like baku hantamness, I actually won a best position paper awards. I don't know what am I writing in my best position paper, but I also was like, oh my god, I have talent in writing. I always thought that I'm dumb in writing. So that's the story, guys. I won a best position paper in my first MUN. And then the second MUN was the Jakarta MUN, the UN for MUN, where I literally run away. And then my third MUN was actually, oh my god, my third MUN was Lyman, the London International MUN. So this is the thing, guys.
Ooh.
In my life journey in MUN, it's not as easy as what people see, right, in MUN. They didn't know that there was a time in my life where I think MUN is not for me. So in 2018, after Jakarta MUN, I was like having this like mental breakdown where I thought MUN is not for me. MUN is not something that I have to pursue and everything. So in 2018, I only do to MUN, and yeah, that's basically it. And then I was becoming this like just like thinking everything is like falling apart, and I don't know why it happened to me. But then in 2019, I started my journey fresh in the Lyman. I don't know what happened to me, but I realized in 2019 that MUN is for everyone that are willing to like learn, that are willing to like becoming a better person. So in 2019, gue gas ikut MUN. I literally joined 9 MUN in 1 year. And yeah, I don't want to brag or anything, but with my confidence, with like my way to like assure myself that I'm okay, that I can do this, I actually managed to win 8 times out of that 9 times. So yeah, if I just continuously to be a sad bitch and not doing anything about my MUN, I'm probably not going to talk here about my MUN career. Maybe my career is only stopped in that 2 MUN. There won't be any MUN that I'm joining afterwards of that. So yeah, I don't know if this is inspiration or not, because I'm pretty much just talking about everything about me. So yeah, that's the story, guys.
Yeah.
Thanks.
Alright.
Don't forget to join Online Distancing MN, guys. Odiman 2.0 bakal balik lagi 29 Agustus. And Nomad, your fellow Fahmi, and I don't know about Faisal ya, tapi Fahmi kayak join lagi.
I don't know, man. I mean, maybe I will join though. I will join in UNSA, I guess.
Yeah.
As a delegate, I don't know. But alright, thank you so much buat Indah sama buat Jose for sharing their MUN experience and also giving an insights regarding the how does the MUN itself, how the world of the the world of the MUN, like what happened in MUN and so on, like the intrinsic, the small thing and the big thing that always happened in MUN itself. I'm very grateful for having you two on board. Also for Chris, thank you so much for coming, and for all the participants, and thank you for the organizer for entrusting me, both me and Faisal. There's actually one question, by the way, dari Sania. Tapi before I answer that, before we go to that, before we proceed, I would like to ask to our MC today, to our moderator today, is there still a time to answer questions or no? Cukupin aja.
Mungkin bisa ini Kak, jawabannya singkat tapi boleh dijawab.
Alright, so hey, I want to ask about a problem when your block embracing together. I found it very annoying. How to avoid that? You think, Sal?
What? Actually, I don't really get the point of this question. I mean, like,
Yeah, be honest.
when your block
Embracing.
embracing together, I thought that's a good thing, you know. Kalau misalkan blok lu emang bener-bener udah solid nih, justru bukannya bagus dong. Maybe you can elaborate more. Why did you find it annoying? Ya enggak sih? Or do you guys have any other opinions?
Maksudnya nggak berani misah blok. Like let's just say lu berada di blok yang salah, and then lu kind of reluctant to separate with your block karena lu udah feel that you're already comfortable with your block gitu loh. Mungkin kayak gitu.
Sebenarnya itu depends ke kalian lagi sih. Kalau menurut gue, kalau misalnya memang gue udah tahu itu, misalnya ini gue udah join blok itu, terus gue ngerasa kalau misalnya memang blok yang gue ikutin itu salah, ya gue bakal explain sama orang previous blok gue kayak, hey, rupanya gue baru nyadar kalau misalnya country gue itu salah stance-nya, jadi gue mau nggak mau harus pindah. But it's not like bad vibes though. It's not like bad vibes. I'm just doing this because I'm trying to like be responsible. Karena kalau misalnya kalian udah tahu nih, kalau misalnya kalian tuh country stance-nya salah, terus kalian joining blok yang salah. Misalnya kalian tuh misalnya let's say ya, kalian tuh di UNSC, kalian tuh China, terus kayak ada blok lain yang misalnya let's say Russia, tapi lu joinnya ke bloknya USA. Itu tuh nggak bisa, woy. Kayak orang tuh biasanya kalau misalnya China itu nggak pernah sama USA. China tuh pasti mentok-mentoknya sama Russia. Kalau lu udah tahu kalau misalnya lu salah, lu harus cepet-cepet pindah. Karena kalau lu nggak pindah, itu chair tuh bakal nge-address itu sebagai country stand lu salah, dan kemungkinan award lu itu bisa terancam gitu loh. Misalnya let's say gini, harusnya lu dapat best deal, tapi karena lu rupanya country stand salah, terus kayak mereka ngeliat lu di blok yang salah, otomatis jadi procedural all this and juga salah, pasti lu nanti nggak dapat best deal itu, pasti lu jadinya jatuhnya honman, apa paling nggak MO. Bahkan ada yang gue lihat sendiri di mata kepala gue sendiri, ada yang benar salah country stand-nya, padahal dia substansinya bagus, tapi country stand-nya salah, dia cuma dapetnya Vertcom, padahal kalau menurut gue dia harusnya dapet MO. So for me, don't be scared to just leave out the group. Just explain it nicely, why, and yeah, just leave and make your own block.
Yeah.
Or just join another block that actually have the same stance as you. Gitu.
Yeah. Agree.
Jadi ingat ya, kalau pas lagi MUN itu kalian harus tetap stick to your foreign policy, stick to your national interest, do your own diplomacy in order to implement that foreign policy, so you will get your national interest on that matter in the MUN at the certain topics and councils. Jangan ngikut tongkrongan lu, oke? Walaupun tongkrongan lu salah, lu harus keluar. Iya, biasanya karena lu udah dapat teman baru di satu council lu. dan kebetulan mereka ini negaranya bertolak belakang stance-nya sama yang lo punya, lu keluar, gak usah segan-segan, karena ya lu datang ini kan buat MN juga kan. I mean like finding friends is also an objective, but it's not that primary objective, like it's a second or ya nomor 2, 3, 4 lah. Jadi emang harus benar-benar stance gitu, lu harus tetap pro, maksudnya profesional di sini.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And one more question from Vanessa is gimana caranya berani keluar dari block? Well, I'm gonna answer this very very short. Again, based on the previous explanation by Inda and Faisal, know your foreign policy. If your country does, let's just say, if your country does have a controversial, let's just say, controversial security policies, controversial security things with the thingy with the, let's just say, with your opposing country, then you may just like leave and again ask, let's just explain it like nicely, like, oh sorry, I'm not supposed to be here, but yeah, of course I'm not going to steal your ideas and such, but still, yeah. So that's how it is. Of course, for beginner, this is for beginner, this is a very good useful tips. So whenever you roll into any kind of council, basically, like either you roll into like a high poll or low poll, before you jump into the blocking, and you need to know your country stances. Again, you need to know your country foreign policy, so that you can actually know which one is your foe, which one is your allies. That's how it is.
Yep. So the main point is, before you go into that council, before you make your own block, or before you join another block, you need to research. You need to research really, really well. At least that well, to the point that you can discover your own stance, your own role, and what you're gonna do at the council, and what resolutions you're going to present at the end of the session. But yeah, I mean, that's a story for another 101. I'm sure there would be a research 101. Probably in the next few weeks or something. It's up to the academics and the committees. Do you guys have anything to add?
Yeah, because it's
Any
already
other
reaching the time limit.
opinions? I mean, like for the
it's already
closings.
It's already reaching the time limit, so yeah, let's just proceed to the.
Yeah, the conclusion. Do you have any conclusions? I mean, like, yeah, thanks for dropping by, for Inda, Jose, and Chris. You guys are very, very welcome. You make this internal discussion. This is a internal club discussion, and turned out it's an international session. Yeah, I mean, like literally everyone across the country is here. One of them are somewhere beyond the boundary of our country. So yeah, I mean, like, that's really, really awesome.
Sure. It's my honor also. Thank you, Uin. And I hope Syahid Moon bikin Moon lagi ya, walaupun kita tahu Grand Cemara tutup.
Wait, bagus kan? Saya bagus ya.
If there is any online Moon, ya walaupun bukan di Grand Cemara, Moonnya bukan Interface ataupun apapun itu, Moonnya bukan Java Moon. Java Moon bukan ini. Bukan. Kalau ada Moon online, jangan lupa ngomong-ngomong ya.
No problem.
Ditunggu Moon online. UPN mau ada UPN Oktober. Uin kapan nih? Uin bikin online nih.
Mau gue bentrokin nggak sih?
Guys, join Fatamon ya. Join Fatamon because the chair is probably me, and the section is our beloved Samuel Jose. And if you actually win the best sale, you will get 400K. So I don't know about you, but I want money. So yeah, just join it, guys.
By the way,
thank you so much, though.
Can anyone speak up, clarify what is this Moon? I heard that word. This Moon.
It's one of our biggest project, I guess. Yeah.
What's the like? I mean the full name.
Oh well, Faisal, you wanna?
I'm sure that the ideal person who would like to convene this one project is not us. It's not me, it's not Fami, or either is Vanessa because it's already convened to the keangkatan bawah gitu loh. I mean like I will let them to do their own things.
Oh ya, sure.
Yeah.
Tapi jangan di hotel, nanti di cancel. Jadi kita online aja biar aman. Kita tutup for a while, kan Grand Cemara juga mahal, bangke ini yang sewanya jadi naik gara-gara COVID.
Right. Okay. For closing statement, so of course, I'm gonna say that pokoknya kalian tuh jangan pernah nyerah sama perjalanan MUN kalian lah gitu loh. You know, like every person has its own MUN journey, dan of course mereka bakalan selalu ngalamin upside down. Just enjoy the process. During the process, you will learn something even more valuable than the previous experience. So you can actually develop yourself, and then eventually you will become the winner. And the term of winner itself should be a real winner is that those who is able to give back to the society.
Sure. Yes, that's the value, man.
There you go. So I think that's it for me. I would like to hand back the floor to the Fabita. Yeah, the floor.
Thank you all. Thank you for inviting me to the internal discussion. I hope I can join this again. Karena saya
for sure.
Of course.
You're very welcome.
I'm gonna invite you all.
Guys, thank you so much. Yeah, sorry for me calling all the bitches and everything.
Ooh.
Yeah.
Thanks
So
for
I hope you
showing up.
learned something, and I hope you get to be inspired, because we have the most inspiring student here, cough Jose. So yeah, let's hope that we inspired all of you, and you can actually become better for this MUN career. Thank you, guys.
You're welcome. Thank you so much for Inda and also Jose. And the floor is now back to Fabita.
Halo.
Yo.
Yeah. Oh, it's not the
Can anybody hear me?
Yeah, I can hear you.
Sebelumnya, I wanted to say thanks because I'm the academics division who are conducting this Console 101, and I'm very, very, very thankful, and I wanted to show my gratitude to Kak Indah and Kak Jose and Kak Chris that have attended this meeting and give so much inspiring and insights to the viewers. Thank you so much.
Yeah.
You're
Hey, you
welcome.
guys, I'm just gonna tell you that this video is being recorded and it's going to be uploaded into YouTube real soon, so you can all watch it.
Wait, yang nyinggung ya yang nyinggung kuning tolong disensor bisa nggak? Takutnya nggak. Yang nyinggung kuning.
Yang nyinggung kuning nanti sama anak-anak editor ya.
Yang gua semua ngomong boleh nggak diedit semuanya supaya gua nggak kelihatan gitu. Biar gua nggak ada denger omongannya. Yang punya gue yang ada Indah Pratiwi ngomong tolong disensor ya. Terima kasih guys.
Okay. Again, thank you so much for attending the Console 101. And yes, actually in YouTube kita bakal nguploadnya share link. Jadi mungkin kalau Kak Indah atau Kak Jose mau lihat, bisa di share link nanti ke Kak Indah sama Kak Jose. Karena kita nggak buka buat videonya nggak buka buat publik, karena itu sebenarnya untuk member Syahid pun juga. Tapi bisa kok Kak di share link. Dan untuk edit akan kita usahakan.
Yeah. I'm sorry. Yeah. I'm a bit sorry if I am being a buzzkiller or something. Like, turned out I'm bringing some really bad vibes.
Oh ya, nggak apa-apa banget. Dan makasih banyak juga buat Kak Fahmi sama Kak Faisal yang udah mau jadi speaker di sini dan yang udah nyampein materi yang hebat dan sangat berbobot banget. Oke, jadi karena moderatornya Fabita mute-nya lagi bermasalah, aku tutup udah closing aja ya. Terima kasih banyak buat semua sekali lagi yang udah datang. Terima kasih juga tamu-tamu kita dan terima kasih juga pembicaranya. Billahi taufiq wal hidayah, Console 101 ditutup secara resmi. Wassalamualaikum warahmatullahi wabarakatuh.